This is the brand new Mofage POCO drop-in filter adapter. So this is a drop-in filter adapter that adapts PL mount lenses to pretty much any mirrorless camera mount, like Sony E mount, Canon RF mount, Leica L mount, and I believe a few others as well. Now this is actually the first product from this company. This is their first ever product and it's not even released yet. So this is a pre-production unit that I'm unboxing. I just want to make that clear. But without further ado, let's get this thing out of the box and take a look at it. So right off the bat, with the packaging, I'm pretty impressed by, how well packaged and just how good this looks for their first ever product. For example, most other adapters that I get from, a bunch of different companies that typically make adapters, they come in just this blank white box essentially that you pull it out of, or just a blank cardboard box or something like that with like no markings, no designs or anything like that. So it's nice seeing that this is a little different. It has this nice plastic outer box, almost like those little boxes, like protector boxes that you put video games in or something like that sometimes. But once we get that out, we have this right here. So this isn't even really a full enclosed box. It has the user manual on top kind of taped on here. So if we pull the user manual off right here, we have the open box, a little foam piece on top, and then the actual adapter itself right there. So this is everything in the box, the adapter right there, and this is actually the VND drop-in filter that it comes with. Before we take these out, they also sent me a few other things. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but they did send me this, so keep that in mind as well. This was sent to me free of charge to make a video about, and it is also a pre-production unit, of course. And so they did send me the RF mount, the Canon RF mount as well. And so this has an interchangeable mount, so you don't have to buy a whole new, filter adapter with, a different mount for different cameras. I believe they're gonna sell these mounts separate, so you can just buy this little mount, unscrew it and screw the other one on, and use, the same actual adapter, which is really nice and really useful, especially if you have a bunch of different brands of cameras. And then they sent me a few shims as well, and then also a black mist filter, and they also have a white mist filter. If you don't know what those are, they're essentially like a Tiffin Black Pro Mist, which just softens up the image a little bit. A lot of people use them. I really like these, so it's really cool to have a mist filter with this as well as a VND. Either way, let's pull this adapter out. It's fit really tightly in here, and there it is. Now I have used this a little bit and I do have a few things to say about it, so definitely watch this entire video. But this is it right here. The first thing to notice, it does have this, really nice metal cap here, whatever it'd be called, a cover. However, there's nothing on the back. That I was a little bit disappointed about. It's not that big of a deal. However, there is some dust in here already just from dust inside the packaging and stuff. If there was just a cap on the back there and the front, there'd be a lot less room for dust to get in there. And of course you can see has the purple colorway. I'm guessing that's just their brand colors. I think it looks really good. It reminds me of Gerald Undone, which if you don't know Gerald Undone, go check out his channel, but he pretty much has that purple colorway with his channel, and I think it looks really good. But either way, then we have this right here. This is the variable ND filter that snaps into this. And that is everything in the box. The filter that's in here right now is just the clear filter. And you essentially, to take the filter out and put in the VND filter or, the mist filter, or really any other filters that they're gonna eventually sell, there's this little button on top. It's a quick release button. You push that down and you can just slide these filters out. So this is a clear one. There's just a clear piece of glass in there. It slides in and out right from the side here. There you go, snaps in. A little bit of play. Let me bring this to the mic so you can kind of hear that. So there's a little bit of play in this filter, but besides that, it fits pretty well in there. Then you press this button on top, you can slide it out and put a different one in. Now I don't see any gaskets or anything like that, so I'm guessing this isn't fully weather sealed. But either way, let's get this variable ND filter out, take a look at this, and then throw it on a camera. So I have my Sony a6000 right here. I actually have a Light Trader PL mount adapter on this one as well. So kind of the same thing, but this one doesn't have, of course, the VND filters or any of the drop-in filters. So this is it right here. Again, it has that little hint of purple right here, and besides that, looks pretty good quality. It's pretty well built. There is some play in this gear here, which isn't a super big deal for me personally, at least. So let's get this thrown on here, and then I want to talk about something I noticed right away. So I have actually used this a little bit on my Sony a7S III, which of course I'm recording with that camera right now, so I can't really show you it. But something I noticed, so let's try to put it on my a6000. I actually haven't tried it with this yet. However, on my Sony a7S III, with a small rig cage. I don't know about other cages, but the small rig cage that I have, this actually can't go on the camera with a cage. So the variable ND, you know, little wheel here, little gear, sticks out a decent amount and it's towards the back here. It actually just hits the cage. So I can't even put this adapter on with the variable ND filter if I have a cage on my A7S III. Now the issue with that is this is a PL mount adapter. PL mount lenses are cinema lenses. You're typically, if you're using a PL lens, you have your camera rigged out, you know, in a cinema camera configuration. You know, unless of course you have a cinema camera, then you really don't need a cage on that. But for mirrorless cameras, if you're gonna use this adapter with PL lenses, you're probably gonna have a built-out rig with a follow focus and stuff like that, and you're gonna need a cage on your camera. So the fact that this doesn't work with a cage on the Sony a7S III, again, I don't know compatibility with all the other combinations of cameras and cages, but I would suspect there'd be, you know, a fair amount of issues with those if I had, you know, that big of an issue with just the a7S III in a cage. So it's just kind of weird to me that the main use for this adapter is, you know, if you want to turn your mirrorless camera into, you know, a cinema camera with a PL mount and rig it out for, you know, filmmaking, that you can't even put it on with a cage. But let's try this out. So this is a Sony a6000 with a UU rig cage. So this is kind of a standard shape of a cage that would be on an a6000 series camera. Yeah, no, it actually, so this will go onto the a7S III with the smaller cage without the variable ND adapter. If you just have the clear filter or a mist filter in there, it'll still work, just not with this big gear poking out. On this one, it doesn't even look like with a different filter it would fit on this. It's just too big, it hits the top of the cage there, and it won't even go on. That's pretty much the biggest issue with this. The main reason you'd use this is when you build out your mirrorless camera into a big cinema rig, but you can't even do that. You have to use this pretty much without a cage on at least the a7S III with a small rig cage and the Sony a6000 series with a UU rig cage. However, I did use it with my a7S III with no cage and with this Meike 16mm t2.5 lens, which I'll show you right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on here. Now, it does fit pretty tight in there. It's a little difficult to get it in at first, but it kind of is a good thing, so there's no wiggle room. I mean, this lens is locked in there. Once you tighten it down, you can just quick release, pull the VND out, put it in a different filter if you need to, slide it back in, and this spins really, it's really smooth. I mean, there's a little bit of wiggle room, like I said, but it's really nice to use. I really like how this feels in the hand. The build quality, the colors, everything about it seems really good, especially for their first ever product. This is definitely, seems like a great adapter. But let me go grab a different camera real quick. All right, so this is a tiny Sony camera. This is a Sony NEX3N with no cage on it. And of course, it's just gonna fit right on there. And so there we go. That's how it looks on a camera. It's really tight. I'd say there's a tiny bit of wiggle room where, you know, it mounts onto the camera, not where the lens mounts the adapter, just the adapter to the camera. I would honestly say one of the least amount of wiggle and play that I've gotten in really any of my lens adapters that I use. Now, I will have a longer video actually showing examples and a lot more on my other channel, so I'm gonna link that down in the description. What you're watching right now, this is actually my second channel. If you are new to me and you've never seen me before, this is my second channel where I do lots of unboxing, first impressions, stuff like that. I do have a main channel, which again, linked down in the description, where I make most of my full reviews and stuff like that. So subscribe to that channel if you wanna see the full review of this. But first impressions, it seems really good. You know, a fantastic first product, really useful. I can't believe you can't use it, you know, with a majority of cages, which is the main reason that I would use this, is building out my rigs. So that's the biggest issue I noticed. Really be aware if you're planning on doing the same thing that I was, you know, building out your Sony camera or Canon mirrorless camera, something like that, you know, with a cage, building out into a rig to use it. Really be aware and stay tuned for more reviews. Like I said, this isn't even out yet. It will be on, I believe, Kickstarter, which I'm gonna link in the description once it's out. So if it is out and there's a link in the description, then you can check it out and, you know, learn more about this. But besides that, that is it for the unboxing of first impressions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.